Hello, everybody out there. Good evening. This is Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom, W5KUB. Trying to get audio levels set tonight. Things seem a little hot. I'll explain that in a few minutes. Hopefully it sounded okay. Hey, if you're listening out there on shortwave, we want to say hello to you. We'd love to hear from you. If you're out there listening on WBCQ 7490 out of Monticello, Maine, shoot us an email to Tom at W5KUB.com, Tom at W5KUB.com. We'd love to hear from you. And just tell us where in the world you are and how you're hearing the station and so forth. Also, if you will, hey, hit that subscribe button. I've got a little error here. I'm going to help you out. I think right there. If you'll just follow that arrow there should be a subscribe button down there. That helps us to advertise our show on YouTube, so please do that. Hit the notify button. Sometimes we come on in between the week with something special. So let's see. Oh, Facebook. We have a great Facebook group. It follows the show here, and it's just a great ham radio group. It's called Amateur Radio Roundtable, but that's an awful long name. You can just find it on Facebook. Just type in W5KUB. You'll find it, and we will automatically approve you and put you in there to be a member of that group of 13,000 hams. And let's see, in addition to that, we've already talked about WBCQ. There's a nice summer picture of WBCQ up in Monticello, Maine. I don't know why it gets so cold up there in the summertime, but anyway, that's the hard line going out to their new massive antenna they've got out there. We're on about every podcast carrier there is out there. We're on iTunes, iNet Radio, Google Play, Radio Public, you name them, Tumblr. We're on all of them. So if you just want to listen to the show sometime, you can listen to it anytime at any of these podcast carriers. So we want to welcome you to take part in any way you can here to stay in touch with the show. All right, so I will try my best to not cough on you guys tonight. I would recommend it. Everybody out there, if you got a mask right now, put it on. You might put one over your speaker. We came back from Huntsville. So we came back Monday morning, and Monday night I was feeling pretty bad, and Tuesday pretty bad. And Kathy and I both came down with COVID since we came back from Huntsville. I had COVID for the week, and as of yesterday, Monday, I tested negative. So I think I'm over I'm not testing positive anymore for COVID, so I'm over it. Kathy's still testing positive. She's a couple of days behind me. I think maybe tomorrow she'll test negative too, we hope. So anyway. Hey, and I want to tell you something. I want to thank Kathy very much for doing something for us. We came back from Huntsville, and as you guys know, when we do a show and we give away $4,000 or $5,000 in prizes, our work is not over. When we come home, we have to make sure all the logs are correct, the right winner gets the right prize. We've got to notify all the vendors out there of who won what prize and what's your address and all those things. And of course, I didn't feel like doing much this past week, and I know she didn't either. But as of yesterday, Kathy had notified every single vendor and winner of their prize status. And prizes, I'm seeing already prizes are starting to go out to you guys out there. So if you want a prize, you probably get it in the next few days. Hey, and if you will, let us know in the chat room if you want a prize. I'd like to see who's in here tonight that maybe won a prize. So if you want a prize at Huntsville, tell us in the chat room who you are and what prize you won there. And let's see. I'm glad I got my shots. Yeah, hey, I got my shots too, but you know what? It didn't keep me from getting it. There we go right there, guys. Everybody needs to get that jab right there, but for some reason it don't keep you from getting it. But maybe it keeps you from dying. I don't know. But anyway, we didn't want to take any chances there. So, yeah. Okay, so let's see. Tom, did you get Paxlovid? Yes, I got Paxlovid. I got the Paxlovid pills and took the pills for a week. They couldn't give Kathy the Paxlovid because it interfered with another medicine she was taking. So they did an infusion with her, and they gave her monoclonal, whatever that monoclonal thing is, through an IV, you know. So I don't know. She's a couple days behind me. I think the Paxlovid might have worked a little better. I have no idea. Anyway, okay. Hey, great. We got a great show for you tonight. We got Rich with us tonight, and we got our special friend Roly from down in New Zealand to talk about things. Glenn's in here with us. You know, I'll give you an update on our flight around the world. The ants are doing really well. They're up in northern Canada right now, heading for the Arctic. And today was our 80th day. They made their first trip around the world in 80 days on this flight. We've done it before in 9 days on previous flights, but this time it took 80 days to get that first flight. They're up heading for the Arctic, and they're going with the, you know, you heard the term where the sun don't shine. Well, they're going where the sun is shining 24 hours a day. So we should be getting reports as it circles around up there in the Arctic. We'll be getting reports every 10 minutes all day and night for us. So that's going to be kind of interesting to follow. All right. I'll try to keep my coughing under control. Hey, let us do this. Let's go and say hello to Glenn. Glenn was with us in Huntsville. Oh, just one last thing, guys. I won the 9700 at Huntsville on Sunday. So was it worth getting COVID? I won the 9700. It probably was, you know. Hey, you know, I've heard worse for things. Hey, come on in here, Glenn. How you doing, Glenn?
Well, I'm still depressed. I bought the 9700 and paid cash for mine. You get a free one. Where's the fairness in that?
Well, I don't know, but you know.
But you know, if I had bought yours and not bought the other one, if you decided not to sell, Gigaparts was already closed down, so I'd have been out of luck. So no, at least I bought it.
Yeah, you know, hey, as soon as I won it, people were coming up to me offering to buy it from me. You know,
yeah.
$1,500 cash right here, man. But hey, I didn't go for it. I kept it. And you know what? I've had it here at the house. I picked it up, you know, at the hamfest. It's sitting right over there, and it's still in the box. I have not even
You've
opened.
Been sick.
I have not even opened the box yet, man.
I know the feeling. At least I've got the FT101 out of the box.
Yeah.
Same thing, but now you look at it this way: you've got a nice brand new satellite rig.
Well, I've got a TS2000 I was using on satellite.
I said a nice brand new.
That works too. It works good too.
Old.
I got to get my rotors down. I got to get both my azimuth elevation and my azimuth and elevation rotors down and fix those. They're stuck. Yeah. All right, hey, let's jump over to Rich real quick. Rich, how you doing up there? And we missed you at Huntsville, man.
Sounding like it's a good thing I didn't come.
No, man. You know,
staying healthy.
You know, a little hand sanitizer and you know, keep your distance, and you've probably been all right.
Well, I'm obviously not pleased to have missed it because it's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
And I want to thank Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB, for standing in for me at the Young Ham of the Year presentation and representing CQ in that part of that show. So it was one of the highlights.
Well, and we did webcast the Young Ham of the Year there. Now we didn't get great audio. Don forgot to turn the mic on. Okay, I'm gonna blame it on Don, but he taped about 3 mics together, and he taped right over the mic switch and didn't turn the mic on. But we managed to get some pretty good audio, so it is out there on our site. And if anybody wants to see it, it's there. And we appreciate you guys for sponsoring that too.
It's one of my favorite parts of the year is going through the applications and seeing what these incredible young people are doing in and with ham radio. And, every year my faith in the future of the hobby is restored. Not that it ever wanes that much, but it's restored every year when I see the nominations for the Young Ham of the Year award and see the fantastic young people and we are getting and what they're doing. It's not as Wayne Yoshida, KH6WZ, our ham notebook columnist, titles his Maker Faire shows on amateur radio. It's not your grandfather's ham radio. Today's young hams have a different perspective, different places that they're going with ham radio, but it still provides just an endless stream of possibilities for particularly anybody looking to be in a technical career. And beyond that, I mean, it's helped me a lot, and I'm not in technical career. So,
all right. Well, hey, let's do this. Let's do this, Rich, real quick. Let's let me pull Roly in here, our special guest tonight, and say hello to him. And then, as soon as we say hello to him, let's come back and let's talk about CQ Magazine and all the stuff coming up. Okay?
Got it.
All right. Hey, guys, let's bring in Roly ZL1BQD from New Zealand. How you doing, Roly? You've been on our show before, man. We're glad to have you back.
Glad to be back, and good afternoon to you from New Zealand. First day of spring, and of course we're Wednesday now. You guys are still Tuesday night, so we're Wednesday. Right in the middle of the day, actually, a beautiful day outside. First day of spring. That's very concerned. And more wet.
Yeah, well, hey, you guys are
Tom.
you guys are pretty smart down here to figure out the showtime because it's so different. I mean, hey, and you guys are so lucky. You're in the future. I mean, you must be able to tell what the winning lotto number is.
I was
and all
just
that
going to
kind of
say,
stuff.
can I have the numbers for today?
Yeah.
We'll talk after the show. We've got enough time after the show. I'll give you my PayPal account. So, as long as we split the profits, I'm happy with that.
So I mean, it's so cool to be able to talk into the future tonight down in New Zealand there. And hey, we're going to have a great story with you in a few minutes after the segment with Rich. And I'm really excited about getting this story out to everybody out there. It's a neat story, and we'll just spend as long as we need to on it. But let's get back over to Rich. Hey, Rich, come on in here and let's talk about CQ Magazine and what's going on, man. What's in it for next month?
Alrighty. I want to start out with a preview of something we're going to be putting out tomorrow. This is kind of important because it supersedes what's going to be in the magazine regarding our contest policy on stations from Russia and Belarus. We're making some changes in that. My editorial in September says that we are not making any changes, but the discussions we were having before deadline continued on after deadline, and we finally settled on some minor changes that will be taking effect with the CQ Worldwide RIDI DX contest in September. As of that contest, it's always been that any station could participate and submit a log. Stations from Russia and Belarus, their logs had been counted only as check logs up until now. They will be listed in the regular scores, but kind of treated like late logs. They're listed in the regular scores, but not eligible for certificates and plaques. That's going to remain in place. And contacts with stations in Russia and Belarus by other hams will once again count for QSO multiplier credit. So those are the primary changes that are being made there, just to slightly tweak the policy so that people who make contact with stations in Russia and Belarus do get credit for those contacts, and those stations will be listed in the scores, but will still not be able to qualify for plaques certificates. In addition, CQ is going to be working to identify some partners with which to initiate a humanitarian aid program to support the people of Ukraine. The details will be worked out on that and announced as they're put together. So
Where did Rich go? Rich, you still there? Rich froze.
Looks like he's frozen. We've lost his audio too.
Yeah. Let's see if he comes back in. Hello, Rich. Come in, Rich.
He's probably going to have to drop off.
Yeah,
and come
if
back.
you can hear us, Rich, if you can hear us, just please reconnect. And he'll be back in here just a second. Hey, while we're waiting for him, let me just I see in the chat room we're talking about the fun we had at Huntsville. You know, when it started to draw the main. See, one of the things that we kept kidding all the time was they gave us honey baked ham, and that honey baked ham has this real sticky sauce that you can put on it.
Oh yeah, but
And you get that stuff on you. You can't. Your fingers stick together. It's so bad. So I was telling everybody that I put honey baked sticky sauce on all my tickets when we put them in the barrel. So when you stick your hand in the barrel and pull it out, I was going to have my ticket stuck all over your arms and
as many times as you won, I wouldn't doubt that that's what you did.
So we were going to do that, and if you watch our last video there, we captured the drawing moment there when they picked our name. And so I saw him reach in the barrel and pull it out. And I said, I think it's got mustard. I think it's got mustard. And Glenn kept saying, no, I don't know mustard on it. I said, I think it's got mustard. I think it does. No, it doesn't have any mustard on it. And they hand the ticket to the guy up at the counter, and they look at it. And then every one of those guys up there turn around and look at me and Glenn. They look at Glenn and I, and with a big grin on their face. And so Glenn and I knew something. Glenn and I knew one of us had won it.
It was one of us, and I should have really, how silly could I be to think it would be me?
Well, anyway, that was the fun part. We got on video. Hey, Rich, thanks for coming back in, man. How you doing?
Hi there. We had a little power dip in my cable modem. Did a reset.
There you go.
On my phone.
Yeah, it looks like you lost a little weight too. You're on a different camera, but go right ahead. I don't know. I don't know why your picture.
Exactly. Okay, so do
you remember where we were?
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I had finished talking about the slight change in our contest policy on stations in Russia and Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get that out because it is different from what's going to be in the magazine. So getting to the magazine, we start out with the results of the WPX single sideband contest, which was the last major contest run before the Russian invasion of Ukraine really started to take the toll. Actually, no, this was the first one afterwards. Sorry. 160 contest. We also have
Uh-oh, it got him again.
I think you did. I think you did.
No, your audio's there. Now you're back.
Okay. I don't know what happened there. So we've had a bit of a composing room glitch, if there was such a thing as a composing room anymore. and the 160 results in the August issue, and we ended up accidentally running the 2021 top score boxes instead of 2022. And so we have the corrections for those in the September issue. All of the top scores and plaque winners and donors, and I believe the club scores are all corrected in there. Speaking of contesting, we have a great interview by PT2ZDX of the Brazilian RIDI contester Julio Taraco, who's a longtime RIDI contester and always places very high in the rankings. And this year, he what did he do? He was first place, single op, high power, 28 megahertz. So it was a very, very interesting interview with him. Then we take a step back in time, and to the left, Pete Friedrichs, AC7ZL, writes about searching for the real Wolfhahn. If you're familiar with the Wolfhahn, you'll know that it's instrument of ham radio torture. But apparently it came from the name came from a garbled CW message, and Pete put his computer to work trying to figure out what the actual message may have been trying to say. It's a really fun article. And then N1EA, who is a retired commercial ship telegrapher, writes about the vibraplex and other keys on ships, aircraft, and coastal radio stations. You know, most of us, when we hear vibraplex, think of paddles and bugs for amateur radio use, but they very popular among commercial telegraphers too, and many of the commercial telegraphers would have their own personal key that they would take with them from job to job, rather than relying on whatever the station may have had available. Moving a little forward in time to now, WA9PYH has a piece on protecting your nano VNA. These are great little devices, but they are very reasonable. And one of the problems of being so cheap is that they're not in very sturdy cases. And it's kind of easy to mess them up and break the case and stuff. So he's got a case for protecting them, and he's got a cheat sheet for making common measurements. So that's a very, very good article. Especially, if you have one of these nano VNAs, I recommend it strongly to read it. Among our columns, Irwin Math, WA2NDM, and Math Notes has an active antenna project. We all see ads in various places from various vendors for active antennas, particularly for listening, and you can build it yourself. And Irwin has some basic tips on how to do that. And for our shortwave listeners out there, our listening post column has a report on renewed activity in Brazil on 60 meters and the wandering frequency of Voz Missionaria. Seems to be moving around a little bit, whether without wanting to. Our emergency communications editor, K3PFW, writes about National Preparedness Month, which is what September is, and asks, is your family ready? Making the point that you can't be an effective emergency communicator if you're worried about what's happening with your own family. So it's very important to make sure that your family has a good plan in place to stay safe in emergencies. In kit building, K0NEB writes about the QDX transceiver. This is really cool. It's a tiny little software defined digital transceiver from G0UPL, URP Labs. And if you wanted to try out digital modes but don't want to dedicate your regular rig to it, you can build this little tiny little QDX transceiver. It's a 4-band rig, 80, 40, 30, and 20 meters, and it will operate in digital modes. So you can do other stuff with sideband or CW on your main rig, and let this one do the digital modes. It's not a beginner's kit. There are 10 toroids to wind, so if you don't like winding toroids, you may want to look someplace else. But if you don't mind, then definitely worth looking into.
I must be strange. I enjoy wiring wrapping whatever, doing toroids.
I do too. You know, it's the only electronic component that you can actually make yourself. Nobody today can make a resistor or a capacitor, but you wind a toroid. The number of turns you make determines its value, and it's really the only component that you can make yourself, rather than just installing one that somebody else. So I like them too. It's exacting, but it's a real sense of accomplishment. Speaking of building things, Wayne Yoshida, K86WZ, and Ham Notebook writes about making the right connections for RF connectors. This is actually a repeat of a column he wrote back in 2014, but we decided that every 10 years or so, it needs to be repeated because we have a whole new crew of people in who need good advice on connecting their coax connectors. And Ham Radio Explorer, K8ZT, writes about logging. You know, it's, now that it's not required, why should you bother logging? And he explains all the reasons that it's a good idea and looks at some of the major programs to help you do it on your computer. In our MFLF operating column, KB5NJD writes about fun with ground waves, which is very interesting. Most of the focus so far on our new low bands. And Roly, I know you guys have had access to 630 and 2200 meters for longer than we have, but they're still pretty new here. Most of the focus there has been on skywave communications and skip and distance. And he's writing about some work that's being done with ground wave communication, and you can actually have a pretty consistent coverage of, I mean, it's like any other ground wave. You're not going to work DX, but you can cover pretty consistent regional communications with ground waves on 630 and 22 meters, 2200 meters. And he also takes a look at the low down 630 antenna. Going to the other end of the spectrum, or to the middle, KO0Z and Learning Curve introduces us to 6 meters for newcomers to the hobby. And of course, 6 meter band is open to technicians and it's being fantastic DX with 6 meters this summer. N2IRZ and Digital Connection writes about packet on 1.25 meters. And he's not talking about 222. He's talking about the 219 to 220 segment that has been designated for secondary access by amateur radio for high-speed backbone links. And the fact that it's very, very underused and should be made greater use of. Our VHF Plus editor, N4DTF, sends us a report from the Central States VHF Conference, and our awards editor, KI4KWR, focuses this month on awards from the Amateur Radio Lighthouse Society. And in the same theme of awards in our DX column, we have titled DXing Way Down Under, Even Beyond You, Roly. This is all about working stations in Antarctica and the various awards that are available for working a certain number of stations in Antarctica. In contesting, N3QE looks at the impact of the war in Ukraine on contesting in general, and takes a close look at CW speed contest. And finally, propagation editor NW7US forecasts a vast improvement on the horizon. We move into the fall or early spring DXing season. That is a quick look at the highlights of the September issue of CQ. Digital edition will be up on the 1st. Print edition is in the mail. And hopefully people will be seeing it within the next week or so. And I'm pretty sure that our Summer Madness subscription special is still going on. So you can take advantage of that by going to our website at www.cq-amateur-radio.com and clicking on the subscribe link. And you get to take advantage of all the special deals we have to offer.
Hey, Rich, I want to thank you guys. You guys always have donated subscriptions, digital subscriptions, to your magazine, and we've given them out as prizes on the show. And we've got some lucky winners here this past week that are now able to get CQ magazine.
We got your email yesterday, I think it was, and we'll be getting those turned around very quickly. Yeah,
great. Well, hey, thanks very much for sharing with us CQ next month. And hey, if there's any questions, any questions in the chat room, yeah, and I've got my copy in there. I need to go look at it. If there's any questions or anything for you, guys, just enter it in the chat room there, and we'll be sure to get you an answer. Rich, thanks so much again for being with us. Yeah, hey, Phil.
Pleasure. Sorry, my internet connection dropped out there for a few minutes.
Well,
I had the phone handy to back it up with.
Yeah. Well, it worked okay that last half there. Feel free to stick in there with us, hang in there with us, and watch the rest of the show if you like. You can leave anytime you want, or stay for the entire show. And guys, hey, after we get through talking with the Roly here, we will be bringing in the show after the show, or this is the after the show. I always get that wrong. After the show. That's going to come up after Amateur Radio Roundtable. And that's where we're going to invite anybody and everybody out there to join us on Zoom, and they can actually come into the show, and we'll be still streaming it. So that's going to be fun here. All right, well, very good.
Ed Sullivan there, Tom.
Who was that?
You just need to think Ed Sullivan. Really big show.
We're going to have a really big show tonight. Okay. All right, well, very good. Thank you so much here. Thank you. Hey, let's do something real quick, and then we're gonna get with Roly here. We'll be right back in just a minute or two, guys. Don't go away.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. From QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
Keep your competitive contesting edge with Icom. Icom's high-powered base stations cut through the pileups, letting you work the bands and record those contacts. Contest from the comfort of your home or remotely with the RS-BA1 app. The IC7851 gives you a new window into the RF world and is HF excellence unparalleled. With faster processors, higher input gain, higher display resolution, and a cleaner signal. It is truly the pinnacle of HF perfection. It has dual receivers, digital IF filters, high-resolution spectrum waterfall. The IC7610 is a direct sampling, software-defined radio that has changed the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. Features include RF direct sampling, 110 dB RMDR, independent dual receivers. Create your own band opening with the IC9700. This transceiver brings direct sampling to the UHF-VHF weak signal world. This all-mode transceiver is loaded with innovative features that are sure to keep you very busy. It has fast processors, higher input gain, higher display resolution, and a cleaner signal. Included are real-time high-speed spectrum scope and waterfall display, smooth satellite operation with 99 satellite channels, dual watch operation, in full duplex operation in satellite mode. The IC7300 is the high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design, and it will far exceed your expectations. This innovative HF transceiver digitizes RF before various receiver stages, reducing inherent noise in different IF stages. The IC7300 changed the way entry-level HF is designed. Features include RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, a large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope. For more information on Icom radios, visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur. All right, and we are back with you, and you're watching Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's a show about ham radio. We're on every Tuesday night, and if you're listening to us on shortwave, you can join the show on Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern Time on W5KUB. You can watch us, and if you're listening out there on shortwave, it must be Thursday, because we're on Thursday afternoon from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time on 7490. All right, so hey, we got a special guest with us tonight. He's been on here before, and boy, I am just peeking red like crazy on my microphone. We took some of our gear to Huntsville. We had to tear down a lot of the stuff, and then when I came back, we had to put it all back together. So hopefully we won't have any problems. Back to our guest. Hey, he's been with us before. Great guy. Roly ZL1BQD down in New Zealand. You guys probably remember him as the one-man dxpedition, where he goes to all these little islands and sets up his radio and operates just single-handed there. But anyway, he's got. We're going to talk a little about that tonight and his travels, and we also are going to talk a little about a program he's involved in, trying to help someone out there. And so let me bring Roly in. Roly, come on in here. And how you doing down there in New Zealand, man?
Greetings.
All right, now let's see. It's I'm trying to think. My mind's not working right here. We're going into fall, so it's going to start getting cooler.
Just think inverted to the States. So if it's nighttime there, it's daytime here. Winter there, it's summer here. So you're going into autumn. You're
just opposite. Hey, just very quick. I need to know this. Above the equator, the waves in the ocean, when they come up on the shore, they kind of roll over. They roll over on top and fall. Now, under the equator, when that wave comes in, does that wave roll backwards or something?
Yeah, it certainly does. The sand actually rolls up and goes back into the ocean.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. I know. That's why we have extra land mass here down here, and your land mass is eroding up your way.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we'll get into that more later, probably.
Yeah, they're quietly stealing our sand.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, Roly, man, I don't know where to start. I just don't know where to start with you tonight. You've done so much DX work for everybody, and you're involved in a program now helping one of the local people, I think, in Papua New Guinea. And I'm going to just turn it over to you, and you just kind of start where you want to, and you lead us where you want to go, and then we'll just jump in maybe with some questions, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, jumping with questions that you
yeah.
See them up the top, moderate that like natural talk. Well, listen, many of you know that I do quite a bit of, I do a lot of traveling around the Pacific, and for a business point of view, I look after a lot of commercial broadcasting stations throughout the Pacific. That's Papua New Guinea, Niue, Nauru, Vanuatu, all sorts of weird and wonderful little places. I mean, these are all prime DX spots for anybody that's chasing DX. And so while I'm there, I normally take my little, well, either the Icom 7300 or the Elecraft KX3, and whatever I can put into a backpack, to be honest. And we take that along, and when I've got some downtime, of which there is plenty, I operate a bit of amateur radio. It's always been my desire to train up some of the indigenous people, or the local guys. You know, these guys, there's a few guys here show quite a bit of talent, and no, they're not highly educated. Not trying to fool you there. It does take a fair bit, but one particular chap in Papua New Guinea that I've been working with, he's very talented young fellow, and almost got him to the stage now where he's able to sit his radio license, and that's one thing. We all know sitting the license is one thing. You know, getting some equipment and so on, that is yet another. And when these people are working and perhaps earning the equivalent of $3, $4, maybe $5 a week, that's not a lot to try. It's going to take a long time to save up for a license 300, as well as keep yourself support your family. So listen, I want to introduce you to a young fella. This young man, I'll put myself up there, still see. This young man his name is Isaac, and he's looking after one of the stations that we have up in Papua New Guinea. Here he is trying to steal my headphones. I'd dearly love to have those. But that's the KX3 which I took up with me, and on that occasion I was using also a DX Commander antenna. And he's pretending here to be the operator. I'd dearly love to get this guy. So he's very close to having a license. Really would like to see him on air. Let's trip through a few here. One more. One to me. One back. This shot here is the station as it used to be a number of years ago. One of the broadcast stations here, it's a FM broadcast station. It's adequate, works well, but that was all that was on the property there a number of years ago. Now, working with young Isaac up there, the property is now like this. He's been largely involved in getting these buildings put on the property, and now we have right hand side there we have a kitchen, a communal, an office, and a room there for the security. Then on the left hand side of the photo there you see another building of the same sort, and that says a guest house, and that's the house that I normally take over. And when I said, talking to Tom earlier on, I'm fortunate when I go out to Papua New Guinea, I can get a 20-metre dipole at well over 120 feet just by getting somebody to scamper up that tower that you see in the background there. I can sling a 20-metre dipole from the top of that or whatever I like to sling off that. And that really does get, I mean, with a KX3, 10 watts maximum, I'm working the world, no problem at all, having a great fun. So that's okay at the station, but Isaac, unfortunately, can't really operate at the station. There's Isaac's situation there, that's out in his village, and we're standing on the top of a little brow. That's where we're going to put where I have put the DX Commander. In fact, last time I was up there, I set up the DX Commander and left it there for him, and he's got a little Sony receiver that he can tune around on and listen into the ham band radio, ham bands, get used to the jargon and the sort of crazy stuff we talk about on ham radio, get him a little bit used to that before he actually gets a license and puts a mic in his own hand. And that's a view from the other side of the house. Oh, yeah, okay. If you've got very sharp eyes, look at right at in the bush line, right at the very top, right dead center, you'll see a little bit of grey there. That actually is a well over 60-foot coconut tree sitting in there. Very tall coconut tree. He's up on the side of a mountain here, so he's well elevated. And we've run coax up the side of that coconut tree, and I've put up fan dipoles for him there as well, and that works extremely well for him. And yeah, everything's working well. I'd probably flick through it on the way through, but here's some of the friends that I have up in Papua New Guinea. I mean, I know that's a bit foreign to your American culture and something like that, but I remember, yeah, I had a bit of a toothache on this particular occasion, and I was walking through the jungle to go up to one of our commercial sites, and I came across these guys, and somehow they knew that I had a toothache and had a tooth problem, and this young fella here, he said, "Well, I can take care of that for you. I am a dentist," and that you can see his dental tool that he was proposing to use. And I politely declined, and I said, if I really need some dental care, I'll get that done in New Zealand. Thank you for the offer. But there it is. So back to young Isaac. Here he is, and I'd like to really try and get something going for him. And to that extent, what I've done is opened up a Go Get Funding page. And I think if you look up ham radio in New Guinea, I think it is, on Go Get Funding, or Tom, you might be able to put a link to that in the chat. That's an opportunity for you, if you'd like to contribute towards this, and let's try and get this young fella on air. I'm proposing to take up an Icom 7300. I've been absolutely thrilled, to be honest, that the guys in England, Callum from DX Commander, he said, "Well, you've obviously left one there for him," and that was nearly 2 years ago. Young Isaac tells me by WhatsApp occasionally that it's still working fine. So I'm thrilled about that. But next time we go to Papua New Guinea, I want to take another one up there and probably replace it, or even set it up in a phased vertical situation, so we can get a bit of phasing going on for him. Preferably put the backside of the end of the pattern towards Indonesia, because Indonesia just comes in there roaring into Papua New Guinea, just swamps everything out. And perhaps, I don't know, phase it towards the States would be reasonable, I'd say. And that would work very well. So I'm absolutely delighted that DX Commander, from a corporate point of view, have decided to throw their hat in the bag, in the ring, so to speak. And also, I just received, just last night, I'm absolutely thrilled about this, that Messi and Palomi have somehow heard about this and said, hey, we would love to send you some coaxial cable, which is tropicalized. And that's one of the bigger problems. I mean, Isaac was telling me yesterday that the RG213, which I had run, he said it's starting to crack, and insects are starting to get into the cable. What should I do about it? Yeah, it's powerful, of course, unfortunately, with that being in the tropics in the middle of this sort of environment. And so Mr. Polonia, Stefano there has been in touch with me. Great guys, and they've said, listen, we would love to send you some cable. It's called Ultraflex 7, I think it is, or Ultraflex 7 Berry. It's designed to be buried in the ground. It can be done that way, but the most important thing is that the cable is actually designed for this sort of condition, tropical conditions. So I'm thrilled with that. And several others, other people have gone onto the GoFundMe site and have contributed there as well. Well, that's Papua New Guinea. I mean, and my dream and my aspiration is to, okay, fine, that's a good starting place. I'd like to go, rinse and repeat with at Nauru, again on Tokelau's. Well, I've been on 35 dxpeditions to 28 different countries in the Pacific, Melanesia, Micronesia, and also up in the Indian Ocean. But Solomon Islands would be another great one. Solomon Islands is almost a reprint of what we're of Papua New Guinea. Same sort of tropical conditions, same sort of everything. And there's a young fellow on an Isaac equivalent on Solomon's at he's at on Munda Island, I believe. Yes, I think it's Munda. And he shows all the promises too, and he would be quite capable of getting an amateur radio license. But once again, getting equipment would be it's just not even doesn't come even on the radar at all of trying to get some sort of equipment. And maybe, and to be honest, that's been the biggest showstopper, really. Is a lot of these guys would love to have a radio license, and they're well capable of it. But of course, getting the funds to buy equipment way beyond. So hence trying to help them out as much as possible. And this little project, I'm sure it'll go well. In fact, I'm very confident it'll go well. And hopefully we can, as I say, rinse and repeat in other areas around the Pacific.
So Roy,
so there we go, Tom. Open for questions for sure.
Yeah, I know in these countries, these people make practically zero money. I think you mentioned $3 to $5 per week, maybe. Is that correct?
Yeah. So supposing they've got some sort of means of income anyway.
So I mean, that's the minimum 150.
As I say, village living is a subsistence living. You rip out and you go and find whatever you can out in the villages.
So that's hey, $3 a week. That's $150 a year. That's not much money. So we can see that there is no way that he could even buy a used radio. So we're going to have to help him. We're going to have to kind of pay it forward. And I know I'm going to put a donation into the GoFundMe for this guy. And I've already talked to some of my friends here that are also going to go into the GoFundMe. I listed the GoFundMe link. Let me list it again here in the chat room. And this is the story. This is the story in the GoFundMe page, and you're trying to raise the money to get him basically just on the air with a entry level end 7300 and maybe some solar power to power it. So. That's all this guy needs. I think he would be so happy if we can get him an HF rig. And just think of all the people that would like to work that country, and he'll be there.
Yes, I would like to get a solar system of some sort. They do have diesel generators in the village, but diesel is so fiercely expensive. It really is. The only reason they have diesel out in the village, they use a generator very spasmodically whenever it's necessary, maybe for a little bit of lighting at night, and that's it. simply because the diesel is too expensive. To
Yeah.
expect Isaac to sit there and operate ham radio using communal diesel, that would not be appropriate, and it would be fiercely expensive. So some sort of solar system will knock something together that will handle or be able to supply the likes of a 730 would be great.
I'm trying to get your picture back on here. Let's see. Not sure how to do it.
Go get funding and look up ham radio for Papua New Guinea. That would get you.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So, tell us a little about his name again is
Isaac.
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 Isaac. Now, is Isaac? That's a typical. I'm going to say English name. I'm probably wrong, but is that something that maybe they have picked up? Or him being from that country and in a long line of people that have lived here, from the beginning.
Right.
At some point,
Yeah, well,
I guess they get
Isaac.
yeah.
Isaac is very much a biblical name, and of course, a lot of these people will take on some sort of. Papua New Guinea has been very heavily Christianized, so to speak.
Okay.
Some sort of biblical name would be
Okay.
fine. For
Hey,
instance,
tell us a little.
His son's name is Joseph, and
On the GoFundMe page, it's interesting reading, but I don't want to read it myself here. Tell us a little about Isaac and how he walked so many miles to the radio station, and tell us a little about the interesting comments you got there that are in the GoFundMe.
from Isaac's village. Where is it? From Isaac's village here, back down to that station which I showed you previously, is I got to think in pound shilling.
I think you said 25 miles or something like that.
Yeah, 25 miles. Yep, I'm bilingual, so I can work on metric or imperial. So this is 25 miles is approximately the distance, and he had heard the station that we're talking about is a mission type station. It's basically broadcasting Christian type music as well as a community service and on a community type license, although they are allowed to advertise. So it's sort of a weird sort of a mixture of a commercial license and a community license. However, he had heard out in his village here that the station needed some assistance. Well, in those days, Isaac was very much one of these fellows. And so that's how he arrived down at the station with a machete in his hand, saying, "Here I am. What can I do?" Well, they were actually looking for somebody to go on air as an announcer. And they said, well, I'll tell you what we can do. You can look after the property. And so down on the right-hand side of this picture here, you see those thatched little houses down on the right-hand side of the property there. He stayed in one of those little burrows there, and for many years he just looked after the property. So that's why the grass is nice and neatly clipped. The hedges are nicely trimmed, and the property is looking great. And that's what he did for a number of years, until one day their phones were ringing and nobody's answering the phone. And typically, young Mary, who was working there as a receptionist, had decided to go bush. Let's go back home, back to her village. There's no pre-announcement about this. It's just all of a sudden Mary's no longer there. Well, the phones were still ringing. Isaac had heard what she did on the phone, so he went inside and answered the phone. And every time the phone rang from there on in, he answered it, took care of it. This went on for some time, and then one of the announcers also decided, had enough, go bush. Quite a common occurrence.
Now, hey, Roly, tell us, Roly, tell us. You know, I mean, I've seen some of the movies, but tell us what going bush means. I mean, does a person just get up and leave and not tell anyone?
Yeah, exactly that, Tom. They just, for some reason, decide they want to go back to the village or whatever. There's no, they just go.
Yeah, okay. So the announcer leaves. He tells nobody, and the announcer leaves. What happens?
Yeah, the announcer leaves. So Isaac wakes up and from his little hut down in the bottom mid right there, and walks into the studio. Nobody's there, so he decides that, well, I know what you do. You put the headphones on, and you press this button on the desk, and you push this slider up, and you start talking. Oh yeah, I can hear myself in my headphones. That's great, brilliant. So Isaac did that from 6 o'clock till from 6 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, every day, faithfully doing this. It's very fun indeed. Until I arrived on one of my trips and found out that actually nothing was going to air at all. He had been speaking to himself and playing music to himself through the desk for 3 months.
So for 90 days, he's been a DJ for 90 days, man, just getting with it. Yeah.
Now, if you have a look in the top right-hand corner of the photo that's on the screen there at the moment, you'll see a mountaintop. Right at the very peak of that mountaintop is where the main transmitter is. And so between the studio to the peak of the mountain there is what we have, a studio transmission link, or an STL. Now, the main transmitter at the top of the mountain was going, but the STL between the two had stopped. And so here it was, Isaac, for 3 months, he was talking to himself. I call it good on-the-job training.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got there, I said, oh, okay. And we switched the STL on, and all of a sudden, we can hear you all around the CPIC area and around WEWAC, and everything was going well. Well, since that day, then, as I say, that's what the place is now. Now, Isaac, when he's comes down from the village, he's in this nearest little bureau that you can see to your right. The next one along is an office, and then a third one along is a communal kitchen, dining room. And on the opposite side by itself, on the left-hand side, as you're looking at that, you'll see another one of those little bureaus. That's a guest house, and that's where I normally hang out when I go to Papua New Guinea. So there you go. I mean, interesting story, but that's exactly the way in our sort of Western culture we go, oh, this is impossible. You can't have somebody on the radio who's not trained in this, that, and everything else, and has this certificate and that certificate. But no, the job he's doing, you just do it. So,
now, hey, Roly, so he's going to probably be the first indigenous person in that country to get a license. Does Papua New Guinea have a ham radio license, or do they have to create it for this purpose?
No, Papua New Guinea does have an authority back in Port Moresby. Their regulations are very, very similar to those of Australia and New Zealand. Although any amateur radio operator visiting Papua New Guinea can get a radio license, so don't expect to be able to just get it immediately. amateur radio is something which is very, very foreign to them. So you go into the head office in Port Moresby and say that you want an amateur radio license. Don't be surprised, you just get a blank stare. And so now you're going to have to explain what it is. No, and fortunately, I have been involved a lot with from a government point of view and an authority point of view, so I know exactly what their regulations are and how to use them and where to find them and so on. So for myself personally, I was able to go through all of that, show them how to do it, how to create a license on their computer systems, how to log it all in. Well, they may remember how it's done.
Yeah. So what are some of the requirements to get a ham license there, and what's it cost, and is it renewable?
Yes, it is renewable. The cost is negotiable. I told them that I was going to pay them 50 kina. Which
I mean, he may not have enough money. He may not have enough.
$10 US.
$15 a year.
$10, no, well, I'm not there any longer than 2 or 3 weeks at a time, but that $10 will take me through for a year.
Yeah, that's pretty high based on what he makes. So we'll have to continue to support this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but that's the least of the problem. But getting a license is quite difficult because they simply don't know what you're after.
Now, I guess there's no code requirements, right?
No code requirement, and any visiting American or whatever any of us that do already have a license, you can go up there and you'll get a reciprocal license, no trouble at all.
Right.
So it'll be P29 portable W6 you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I visit the country so often and some of that, they regard me as a local. So that's why I have a local call sign, which is P29RR. And I can go out there and operate that anytime you like. Incidentally, if you hear anything out of the Pacific that ends the suffix being RR, good chances it's probably me operating somewhere out of the Pacific.
Okay.
So FK0RR from Nemea, ZK3RR Tokelau, VK9 by NR, that's from Norfolk Island, E51RR, that's Cook Islands, 5 Whiskey 0 RR, Samoa, H44RR, Solomon Islands, P29RR, Papua New Guinea, 4 Whiskey 6 RR, that's Timor East, that's between Indonesia and Australia, A35RR, that's in Tonga, H40RR, the DXs around the place will start savolating, is it, or whatever it is by now, because that's Komodo province, which is very rare. And then E6RR, that's in Niue. So, yeah, anything that's ending in RR is out of the Pacific is probably me.
So I put the link in the chat room for people to go to. This is the GoFundMe page. It kind of describes what we've been talking about, and also it allows you to contribute. I'm going to make a contribution here. I think we need to help this guy.
Like that.
I'm sorry?
It should look like that when you get onto the site.
Yeah. So I'm gonna contribute here and help this guy get this license, because it's going to be fun to have somebody down there to talk to, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was really the point of the exercises. It's fine. I mean, the dxpeditions come into some of these places, and some of the big dxpeditions come in, and they'll kick up a lot of dust and a lot of noise and so on. That takes care of the majority of the requirement, I guess,
Yeah.
that the DXs want. But it sort of leaves me a little bit cold. That I would dearly love to see a few of the local people being involved in. And now you're outside of. I know that if he ever, when he comes up on air, he's going to get deluged anyway. But those are sort of things we can teach him how to deal with that. And I mean, I don't think he will ever turn into be a contester or a de-expeditioner, and then that's not the point. But if you could actually get on and have a bit of a rage with somebody, that would be delightful for both sides.
So to get him on the air, we mentioned the 7300. I think you also mentioned some solar power.
Yeah.
I suppose that you're not going to count on electricity there. I mean, commercial electricity in any way, right? You already mentioned it. In the village, they might run it just a little bit in the evening time. So we're going to have to.
There is some commercial power that goes fairly, reasonably close, but I mean, we're talking about a couple hundred yards away.
Yeah.
And that's to go up and feed the main transmitter. He's up the side of that mountain, which you saw in the background there.
Uh-huh.
He's up the side of that mountain there, and so there is power that goes up there to feed the main transmitters up the top there. But that power is so on and off, it's so irregular. And there's no way in which they could tap into that because there's no way they can meter it, so therefore there's no way they can get some money out of it. And it's a shambles. So,
hey, tell us about tell us about your work there with the FM transmitter. I assume it's probably a low power, 1,000 watt, something like that. Maybe
the
less.
ones at the top of that mountain are 5 kilowatt units. Mm-hmm. 5 kilowatt is fairly normal around the place, although there is a lot of 1,000 watt units throughout the islands as well. So that particular one in Wewak is a 5 kilowatt unit. One in Mount Hagen, it's a kilowatt. Another one in Madang, that's a kilowatt. Another one in Lay, that's a kilowatt.
So is this their basic only information to the outside world, like for hurricanes, storms? Is there a TV station nearby?
No TV at all.
So they're going to get all their news. Basically, they'll get all their news on one of these low power FM stations.
Yes, that's true. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So I imagine they depend on that pretty regularly, and probably everybody's got a radio.
Well dependent on it. There is a national broadcaster that's transmitting off the same tower at the top there, but they're in the same boat as who we are with the with the community station. And when I'm up there, I'll often have a look at both transmitters anyway. And if the national broadcaster one needs some attention, well, I'll give the attention and just let them know that what I've done. I'm not expecting any payment or anything like that. They're just, I'm there, I might as well do it. This is Isaac's home in the village now. He was fortunate enough to be able to. In fact, I think it was an American. Some sort of group that came in from the States that actually got a tin roof for him. And so that's the only house in the little village that has a tin roof. Otherwise, all the rest of them are, all the rest of them have a thatched roof like this. But the tin roof allows for two things. It allows for water collection, so we can get some decent, clean water. And also ideal to put a solar array on top of that for him as well.
Okay. Well, okay. Again, I put the link out there. I want to encourage people Hey, if you can donate $5 or $10 or a little more, please do it. Let's help. Let's help
Well, I
Isaac.
certainly really,
Let's help
really
Isaac.
appreciate it. Yeah, it's a great thing, and as I say, this is hopefully the first of several throughout the Pacific. It's sort of a rinse and repeat, and it's not for the lack of knowledge or the lack of wanting to. It really, at the end of the day, just gets down to a financial issue.
Mhm.
It's simply cannot afford it.
All right. Well, in just a few moments, we're going to open up the Zoom lines and let people join us here on the show. Maybe get some more questions that they come in. If you want to stick around a while with us and take part, it's a real interesting story that you're bringing to us tonight. And thanks for all the work you do down there and taking care of all those radio stations. That's the only thing that people have to the outside world. They need it.
Certainly is.
Yeah. All right. Well, very good. Let's do this then. I'll continue to monitor the chat room here, see if there's anything coming up. I'll put the link in here again to the GoFundMe page, and we'll just go from there. I'll make a donation here probably after the show tonight. All right. So let's see. Let me just mention to everybody. You know, our flight, we've been flying Pico balloons around the world. And this last one, we were flying so high, which was not normal. It's not normal. We actually, I think, broke the record broke that glass ceiling. Typically, about the highest a person could fly a Pico balloon was about 45,000. And we actually figured out a way that we were flying 51 to 52,000 the last 60 days. We've dropped a little bit. I think we've lost a little bit of hydrogen. We're down about 46,000 now, but it's holding steady. Let me show you where we are and what's going on here with it. Man, you're not going to believe what's happening here. Here we are. You can see the United States there, and you can see Canada. And you can see the position of W5KUB-112. It's just east of Alaska. But there's a prediction. Look at that prediction model. We're going to head east and then turn north. We're going up above. Greenland here. And if you look at, you can see the gray scale. Let me put my mouse over there. You can kind of see the gray scale for nighttime. That's the nighttime shadow right there. We're going to actually be in the daylight 24 hours a day until we come out of there. Don't know how long we'll be up there. We could be up there 5 months. I've got a friend that's been up there 5 months now, and he's still clicking, man. So that's interesting that we're going to take a route up to the Arctic. You look at APRS, this shows where we are.
Your onboard answer confused Tom. They shouldn't be going to the Arctic. They should be going to the Antarctic.
That's they should be, but they're not. So they've been surprising us this entire flight.
Ouch.
They were, you know, I mean, we could pretty much predict them on all previous flights, but this one has been something different. If we look now, we are actually down. We've dropped just enough. We've actually got some speed. So we're moving at about 42 miles an hour. We were above the jet stream for 60 days, and we only averaged about 10 to 11 miles per hour 10, 11 miles per hour. Now we're at about 40, what's that? That's 48 miles per hour. And things are looking pretty good for us. We're going to be up here for a while. Might be up here for a long time. Don't know. So that's kind of cool. If you look at the route that it was going, let's see if I can bring it up. Let's see. If you want to track it, just go to w5kub.com and click on balloon in the top menu. Let's look at Hab Hub here. Let's see. Hab Hub. That's going to give us, I can go back to all days. And, all right. So, here we are. You can see what happened when we left Memphis. When we left Memphis heading east. Normally we go around the world east-west, but when they got to the Philippines, Japan, they made a turn and came all the way back to California. So that delayed us. I think we hold a record now for probably the longest flight it takes to get around the world one lap. We've also, I think, hold the record for the longest flight flying backwards, west to east, right now. Now, if we could get one down in the lower hemisphere down here, maybe we could fly backwards. I don't know. Maybe we could launch one down in New Zealand. So once we got back, since we made our turn there at California, and then headed back east, you can see as we came around the world, once we got back to the longitude of California, we completed our circle there. So that's where we are today with that. We hope it just continues to fly. Let's see if there's anything going on here. Around the world in 80 days, you know, I think the ants purposely slowed down to make the lap in 80 days. They won a book deal, I think. They've already been celebrating.
Yeah, but you know, like Rich says, that title's just never going to sell. Around the world in 80 days. It's not going to work.
Here's a little 100 milliwatt PA that I built up that we will use probably on the next flight. You notice a little cylinder thing there on the end right there? That's a drinking straw. And drinking straw makes a great coil form. So to filter out the third harmonic here, third harmonic's pretty strong on this tracker. We've got a T, two inductors here with a capacitor to ground in a T formation, and we get really good isolation on the second and third harmonic. The reason that looks a little funny there is we've brought the temperature down to freezing it pretty low. We're down probably close to minus 40 degrees Celsius there, just to make sure that when we're up in the air, the temperature is not going to cause us a problem. So we'll probably add that on. That's going to be that little PA right there. That little circuit board is about 1/4 inch square, and it weighs in probably double what the tracker weighs. So this next flight, when we get ready to launch it, we'll probably call it W5 KUB-113 Heavy, and it'll have the designator Heavy behind it because we're going to run extra solar cells to try to get the power that we need for our PA, and also we'll be running the PA there. So the weight's probably going to be about double what we normally try to fly. So that's kind of where we are there. Glenn, come here and talk to us, Glenn. What's going on, man? Anything good going on down that way?
No, not really. I'm just busting my tail, on the books.
Yeah.
And just building projects right and left right now. And, that's taking up most of my time.
Well, tell you what, if you retire, you'll have a lot more hours to work on your books.
Yeah, but you said I'll be busier, so I'd never get anything finished.
Well, you will be busy, that's for sure. That's for sure. I'm gonna post a link to our Zoom link in here, and we're gonna invite everybody to join us. There's our Zoom link. If you'd like to join us, click on that link and come on in here.
One thing we haven't talked about tonight is that we did get my forum recorded at Huntsville, and had to do it in 2 pieces because my phone ran out of memory. And fortunately, Earl had his phone and sent me the files, and I stitched it all together. So we actually did record my forum, and it will be available here at some point when Tom decides it's worth showing. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. That forum came off exactly like I hoped it would.
All right, let's see. All right. Hey, guys, come on. Click on that link. Somebody join us here. This is your time to join us on Zoom, be on our show, and talk about ham radio. And, Glenn, I'm in pretty good shape. I'm 99% over my illness, I think. All right, let's see. Like Earl? My mouse is not moving good. Wait a minute. My mouse doesn't want to move. Now it's moving.
Well, you got lucky. You tested negative within a week. It took me 3 to 4 weeks to test negative afterwards, but I didn't have any of the drugs.
Yeah, well, a week was long enough.
Amen.
I need to get out and cut my grass. I got an acre out there to cut my grass. And, well, Glenn, hey, man, if you want to come ride my riding lawnmower, my tractor.
You come over and mow my lawn, too, because mine's the same way.
You can come on up here and I'll, what is this? Let's see. I need to approve somebody. Well, my monitor's so far away.
It looks like you've got Earl and Bill waiting in the waiting room.
Waiting?
Yep. Let them in.
Where are they? Oh, right there. Yeah, I can see
they're
it.
above. Move up. Up.
Oh, I got one of them.
Right there.
Right there.
There's Earl.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm watching 30 seconds late. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, you are. Yeah. I can see it better on the show than I can on the monitor here. I can't hardly read it.
Yeah, there's Earl.
Yeah, hey, Earl's a big help, man, at Huntsville.
Yeah.
He really helped us out, man. All right, do we got somebody else?
Yeah, he provided the laugh track for my forum, actually.
No, that was the cat track.
Yeah. Oh, that was just one of the most fun forums I have done in a long time, though.
Good. Well, the audience seemed to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You had an awful lot to say.
Well, hey, Glenn.
New news.
Glenn, we did a couple walk-arounds, and I tried to play the video, and it said it couldn't play that format or something. It just didn't want to play. And I started looking around, and Earl and I started looking around, and we found, man, my hard drive on my PC was like 99.9% full, man. I said, okay,
oh, man.
That's probably why it's not letting it play,
Yeah.
So we found a bunch of large files and deleted them, and we were able to play the video. But you know what I found? I came home and I took the back off the laptop there. The drive that we were looking at is one of those solid state. It's called an M.2. Are you familiar with that?
No, but I know the solid
This
state.
is a gaming type laptop. It's an M.2, and it's like just a little plug-in hard drive. It's solid state. But anyway, 230 something gigabyte. It was about full. I started researching on the internet, and I found that a lot of people are having problems seeing their other drive. And I said, what other drive? So I started looking, and I had a D drive in there, a 1 terabyte D drive. It didn't have anything on it. A 1 terabyte D drive. But I traced the little ribbon cable from it, and it was not plugged in on the motherboard. When I plugged that in, hey man, I had a D drive, 1 terabyte. Now, I'm going to blame that on Dell because I had them here about 3 years ago, and they replaced my motherboard. And
Yep,
they replaced
there you
it.
go.
They replaced my motherboard. And I want to tell you something. I don't know how that kid put that thing back together. I ain't never saw so many screws coming out of a laptop and wires and cables, and I've never seen so much come out. And I know he probably didn't get that little plug was hard to put on, and I know it didn't
probably
get
missed
snapped
it.
in good. So hey, I've got my battery doesn't stay up very long on it, and I had me another battery put in it. And I looked at, I pulled up a YouTube to change the battery out in that laptop. You got to tear that sucker completely. You got to take like
Yes.
400 screws out, all those little cables that slip under those little slip things, and
Cheaper to go get a new one.
I mean, you got to take it. You got to take everything out, man. What happened to the days where the laptop battery was just right there on the edge, and you pop it out and you just drop another one in, man?
Yeah, just popped it right out. Well, I tell you, this must be the month for new PCs because I went and bought me a new PC the other day, and it's pretty much equal to what I've got, but the thing is like 3.5 inches by 4.5 inches square,
Wow.
and 1.5 inches high, and it's a quad-core Celeron processor with 16 gig of RAM, and it came with a 500 meg solid state drive, and it had a slot where you could slide in a standard laptop hard drive. So I added a 2 terabyte hard drive to that, and it's actually equal to this old Windows 7 system that I'm using here, but it's got Windows 11 Pro on it, and it cost a whopping $230.
Good grief.
Yeah,
That's
got it from
cheap.
Amazon.
Cheap.
Well, I'm not putting a battery in it.
I'm impressed. I am quite impressed with it.
I'm not going to put the battery in it. I'm just going to keep the power cord plugged in.
Well, Tom, these new thin computers like this, the battery, you take 6 screws out of the bottom, and the battery does just unplug and swap in.
Yeah.
It's not external, but at least it's easy. You don't have to tear apart the computer to do it.
Well, I got a lot of older ones right here. You don't even have to take the back off. The battery just
No,
flip
it's
a
in a-
couple. You flip a
it's got
couple
a little-
things, and the battery just twists right out.
Yeah, it's got little snaps.
Man.
But this is roughly the size. Now, this is my MFJ tuner extender, but that's roughly the size of this new PC that I got.
Yeah.
And it's got all that inside it. I was just absolutely amazed. I'm like, no, there's got to be some smoke and mirrors here, but it truly is amazing.
Oh man.
I want to say hi to Roly over there. This is Bill WZ1L. I live in Boston, Massachusetts, and I was in the Navy out on Guam, and I made quite a few contacts with Papua New Guinea.
Right.
Let me see. I think it was Papa 29 Juliet, Mexico. He used to be one of the net control stations there for the Pacific Inner Island Net. There you go. And I used to be on it quite a bit. When I was underway, I used to check in when I could.
Yeah, unfortunately, that service is no longer running. In fact, I don't think I can't think of anybody expat that's on Papua New Guinea at the moment. There might be one chap, a Spanish guy up in Port Moresby, but that's all I can think of. Certainly, none of the indigenous people have a license. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Papua New Guinea out to Guam, you can just put your hand out and shake hands anyway, just about.
Well, it only took one day for a letter to come from Port Moresby to Guam.
Oh, there you go. How long were you up on? How long were you on Guam for?
From 1985 to 1989.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a chance to get reciprocal down in Australia. There, we pulled into Fremantle on the day before, 2 days before Christmas. The day before Christmas, I went down and got reciprocal DK68 AWP. Had to pay $35 I guess it was 2 years grace on that. Somebody says, "Well, you can get it back again. You just got to pay for it."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Hey, here we go. I want you guys to look at Glenn's face. I got this. Let me see if I can pull this up here. This was our fun Sunday. Here we go. Here we go. Let me see if I can get a little video here. Video. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good.
It's not good.
That's not good. Hang on, I think I got it. Hang on, guys. Hang on, guys.
We're trapped in time.
We're trapped, man. We're trapped, man. We're trapped, man. We're trapped, man. We're trapped. Well, I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from. I've only got like 5 PCs networked here, and each one's got 20. Each one's got 20. All right, let's see. It's not there. Not there. Not there.
There.
Not there.
There. There.
Not there.
Well, it's going to be the last one you try.
It's going to be the last one you try.
Okay, guys. Let me. Here, I'll fix it. I'll just turn the audio down. But where in the world did it be coming from? Let me look. You know, we had one of these. We had one of these before. Remember, we had one of these things happen before.
Yeah, it's the one over there.
So what on? Let's see.
This is the problem.
Stream on as well as the Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, let me think. I turned
What
this.
was it the last time? Wasn't it the one that Kathy had over there?
That's not good. Interesting.
It just started, so it's whatever you've done recently.
Yeah.
Stop now.
Yeah, I got the mixer turned down. Okay, it's not that one. And it's not that one. I'm gonna find it. See if it's still there. Is it still there?
No, it's not still there. No, it's not still there. No, it's not still there. No,
Yes, it is.
actually, yes, it is.
Now it's going.
Actually, there's about 5 of me in the room with him, hiding under the table doing this.
All
You
right.
want me to get Isaac to sort that for you?
Yeah, we're going to need Isaac.
Yeah, we're gonna need somebody for sure. Let's see. Let me close that. All right, I'm gonna close that. Let's see if it's getting there now. Is it there? Is it there? Oh, is it there? It can't be. Coming from that PC.
No, it's not now.
No. I got it. I got the mixer turned down. All right. Let's see. Let me just kill that one. Yeah, I'll just kill that one.
The one with the phones. Turn the one with the phones off.
That's the one I'm on right now. I'm just going to close everything on it. Okay, let's see if it's there now. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Is it there? Here we go. Is it there? It's still there. Is it there? Huh.
Still there.
Okay. Oh, wait. Maybe it's coming from this PC. No. This is interesting.
You ran into this exactly the same way last time.
Well,
Yeah, but it was the one with the phone. The one people call in on the phone. If I remember correctly.
Well, last time we had a mic problem. We had the wrong mic. Let me try this. Okay. Oh, we got one mic selected. Let's see. Testing.
You think you got it this time?
No.
No, it only goes up. Only goes up to 3. That's the problem.
Well, that's as high as I can count.
Well, okay. That's no big deal.
And I'm in Mississippi, remember?
No, that's right.
That's no big deal. I'm not sure.
Had too many issues. Didn't know what to do with them.
Then this bugs me when stuff like that happens.
You know, when I try to spell Mississippi, I actually have to sing that little song to get it right.
Oh, it's great on CW.
MISSI What is it? MI cricket letter I. MI cricket letter I cricket letter I humpback I.
There you go.
Something like that.
Glenn, you have plenty of water, drinkable water.
Yes, I do.
They don't have to
I'm
inject
north
them.
of all of that. All I got was a little bit of rain that made my grass grow.
Good.
They got, they're in bad shape down south.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys will listen to Earl's audio, how perfect and clear and nice and excellent it sounds.
Yeah, he's got no echo.
Well, do I have echo? I don't have echo. I don't have
Only
echo.
when you turn the mixer up.
I don't have it.
Mine's running through this little mixing board back here to the computer.
Yeah.
Oh, that ain't little. That's big. That's huge.
I bet you I know what it is. I bet you I know what it is.
Yeah, I run my 2 radios through that and the microphone through that, and then I have 3rd octave equalizers on the outside for the HF radios and use them as notch filters.
What's that?
Oh, man.
16 channel?
Yeah, it's a 16 channel with some effects built in that I don't use. All I had, so I had to use it. Well, it's one of my sound production mixers, and since I use the digital mixer almost exclusively, this has been sitting in the case, and when I set up the shack, it made sense to plug it in since I didn't have anything else.
Yeah.
It's overkill, but it works well.
Yeah, but it does sound good.
Thank you.
There's no problems with RF getting into it at all, Glenn?
No, actually not. Right now I have the way that I plug the mic in. See, the green screen won't make it show. But I have a separate plug that I plug into the Yaesu 950 to go directly in. So far it hadn't been a problem. And I played the audio back, and I'm not getting any RF back into this. I have everything grounded on a copper pipe bus back behind the desk.
Oh, I had a 950 just before I got these rigs, and I dearly love the audio on that thing.
I do too. I have that in a 7300, and I with an AB antenna switch, and I compare the 2 radios, and on the receive side, they are neck and neck.
Well,
Transmit audio tuned quite as well. I have a Heil mic on the 7300. So, the reports I get is that the 7300 sounds better than the 950. But on the receive side, and I have a pan adapter in the 950.
Yeah.
So it really is neck and neck with the 7300.
Yeah, the one I had, I'd put the IF space pan adapter in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And had the LP pan receiver for it.
Yeah. It works really well, but it's not really transportable. And when I did a road trip up to Maine for 4th of July, I took the 7300 with an in-fed wire that I built. It was great on 4th of July in Bar Harbor, working 13 colonies,
Did you drive up or did you fly up?
Oh, we drove.
Well, you went right through my town.
Yeah, I did. Actually,
On 90, did you come up 95 or 495? Do you remember?
Neither. We came the western route because we went around New York, but we actually stayed in where is it? South of Boston, south and west of Boston, where the Patriot Stadium is.
Foxborough.
Foxborough. Yeah, we stayed in Foxborough for 2 days or 3 nights. and went into the city, took the train into the city, played tourists. But we stopped at the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia and worked there.
Oh, that is work. You should take your radio there and do a POTA.
I did down in the valley, and I could not raise anyone on that infed halfway for love nor money at the campground. Oh. But when I got to Bar Harbor, we were in the KOA Bar Harbor, and just right there by the bay, the back bay, and it was amazing what I could do with the same antenna, close to the water. That ground plane in the water was just magic, I guess. But I was working bands I've never worked before.
We do okay across the pond to Europe.
You do. Well, interestingly enough, I had
what state are you in, Glenn? What
That's
state
Earl. I'm in Mississippi.
What about Glenn?
No, that's Earl. Earl, what state are you in?
I'm in Tennessee. I'm just north of Chattanooga, a little town of Soddy Daisy on the Tennessee River.
Okay. I just wondering if, no, I don't need Tennessee for a POTA.
Well, interestingly enough, when I was in Bar Harbor, I heard a Tennessee station calling CQDX, and he was so strong, I went back to him, and it turned out that it was a guy down here and had his, what was it, a 6-element beam aimed at Europe right across the Northeast. So, it's like talking to him on the telephone next door.
Well, I put on the POTA every day from down here because I got to park just 10 minutes away from it. And every day since April this year, I've worked K7 CAR and KL7TC, park to park, every day.
Every day. That's great. Well, I had a lot of fun on the trip, and my grandson, who helped me build my fan dipole at home, was there. So he was peeking over my shoulder and watching, and I need to get him on the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's 12. He's perfect age.
Well, you want to know something, Merle? We had an event up here called Ham Exposition. Mm-hmm. It was the ARRL convention for the New England and Eastern New York district. Right. Okay. There was this little kid, 11 years old, W0MXX. He's an extra class operator, and he's only 11 years old.
Hey, you got to start him early.
Wow, that's. I didn't get my extra until I was like 50.
Let me see, 42 for me. But that was no. Look up SciTech, SCITECH.
Yeah,
it's a program for young kids that Marty N1NC goes down there and it gets those kids going on DX on every band that they can get on.
Right. Well, I want my 2 grandsons will be here this weekend. Their parents are taking a dozen girls to a cabin up in the mountains for Labor Day. So my grandsons will be here, and now that I know what the rules are for having guest operators, I'm going to see if I can get at least the youngest one on my station.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been reluctant to do that because I wasn't quite sure what the rules were, and I talked to somebody in Huntsville about that to make sure.
As long as you were sitting right next to him,
yeah,
in control of the transmitter and whatever. I mean, he can use the push to talk. You might have to do the identification, but hey, the kid can talk all he wants.
Good. That's great. I'm looking forward to it because he's wanted to do that, and I was reluctant because I wasn't quite sure what the rules were.
Well, then you got to look at third party, going across the pond, foreign contact. I mean, in the United States, it's one thing, across the pond, that's another thing, separate and distinct.
Well, my long wire is creeping down right now. The rope is stretching in the pine tree, so I probably can't get across the pond at the moment. So shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, that's like me. The ice storm last winter kind of took out my cobweb, and I got to get up and restring it.
Ooh.
Yeah. I have one of those too, and I've had some problems with that getting it just right.
Well, you know, a friend of mine, Tommy. Well, you know him.
Yeah, I know Tommy.
He's got a hex beam we put up at his house. That's kind of like a cobweb, similar design.
A lot more wires.
But the ice storm, the ice. He said it broke his all up too. So
yeah.
The
Well,
ice
mine is in the only spot in my yard that I can mount it, and it's underneath the pine trees.
Yeah.
And this ice storm dropped some huge limbs, and it just sliced right through all the wires. Didn't hurt the antenna itself; it just sliced the wires.
Yeah. So now
I saw a portable hex beam at Huntsville that looked like it had a cage dipole on one segment. Did y'all see that? It was just right.
No, I missed that one.
Booth. It was just 3 or 4 up from Tom's booth on that outside aisle.
No, I missed that.
That was radio waves. What was the antenna?
It looked like a hex beam, like a small hex beam, but
that'd be radio waves.
It's a portable antenna. And when I was doing the walkabout recording, I came up behind it and I saw the strange, just one side of it looked like a cage dipole. I thought that was really strange.
Well, hey, Emmett does what he has to do to sell antennas.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I mean, I still got my beam up in the air and everything, but the cobweb's the one I like to use for digital.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it is, like I say, with me working on these books, it's literally, I go to work, I come home, I work on the books. I've got a deadline on this next book of December, and then there's another book after that looks like it's going to be due in September of next year.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I need to retire so I can get caught up on this stuff.
Yeah. You believe that. Just go ahead and believe that.
Yeah, that's what everybody's telling me, and I'm like, yeah, but I sure would like to. That's kind of like winning the lottery, not changing me.
Yeah.
Give me the opportunity to prove you wrong.
Well, I retired a couple of years ago when I moved to Chattanooga, and I'm always busy. Always have something going on.
And that's actually this weekend. I'm doing a little Arduino seminar for the kids at the local library here.
Oh, good.
So that's, and I've got to give kudos to the library program director there. Every summer, she puts on a different program for these kids every day. Whether it's a field trip up to the airport and give them the behind the scenes tour of the airport, or to the FBI office here in Memphis. She has got a interesting program for these kids every day of the summer. And mine was scheduled to be in June, and that's when I had COVID. So they rescheduled it to a special event week that they're having this week.
Yeah.
But the programs they do there, we did a 3-weekend class on having the kids build their own little Arduino powered robotic carts. So I love working with these folks. But yeah, that's my this weekend, and then the weekend after, I think, is the online QSO Today Expo.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. And I've got 2 presentations going on in that one. The old Arduino and the new Arduino. So both presentations are going to be at that expo.
I'll see you online then.
Are you just going to go, or are you moderating, or what?
I'm just going to go. My schedule is such that I don't ever quite know exactly if I'm going to be available.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I work at a church, so we're going through some changes. We got a new choir director and trying to get her up to speed and set up, and we do video streaming as well as audio.
Yeah.
And then since we changed choir directors, we use Media Shout as a presentation package, and I've had to learn how to do that from the ground up. I put together that, and then had a funeral last Sunday unexpectedly, and keeps me busy.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard, but I was able to stitch that video together, and we only lost, 10 or 12 seconds.
Good. I heard you mention that as the real show was ending before we got to the show after the show.
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, I got it spliced together, and you just have that one little brief glitch.
Yeah.
And but when I got that thing home, I had to. I'm glad that I pulled that data off that night.
Really?
Because as soon as I got back to the hotel, I transferred it off to my laptop and to my Google Drive.
Yeah.
And the next day, all of the pictures that I had shot Friday at the Space Center were gone, and everything was gone by the time I got home. It was just corrupt.
Wow. Well,
All
the
right,
phone
hey,
said that it
guys.
was out of space.
Let me say something here real quick. We got 1 minute until we're off on shortwave. Everybody, thanks for listening tonight on shortwave on WBCQ 7490. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com. We'd love to hear from you. Join us on our live video show on Tuesdays. Just go to w5kub.com and click on video chat, and you can join us on Tuesdays. And we'll see you next week. All right.
But yeah, I mean, literally, if I had not saved it that night when I got home, it would have been gone. I formatted that SD card, and it's fine. But I did not put that back in the phone. It's going somewhere else, and I bought a new SD card for the phone because, gosh,
Good
that
move.
was like 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah. Well, they start to get flaky, and when they go fast.
Well, I've heard that when the Android phones tend to get full on the disk or whatever, the memory, that they start corrupting like that.
Yeah.
And we ran that sucker totally full.
We did.
Well, that's because we were recording on the internal memory, and it wasn't set to send anything to the SD card or whatever.
Oh,
My
well.
echo is back.
I'm still looking. You know, I upgraded just a couple weeks ago. I upgraded the Wirecast, this big broadcast encoder. I think it's something in there, something new, and the new upgrade is causing.
Well, you're going to find that, it was just when you were trying to play the video.
Well,
and you had this problem before, and
I
you
turned
found
that computer. That computer is completely turned off over there, and I still get echo.
Yeah, so it's not that computer.
It's
It's
not
somewhere
coming out.
else.
It's not. It's not that computer is receiving the video and you were hearing the audio back. That computer's turned
No,
off.
but you've got another loop somewhere that you don't remember what it is because you've got too many computers.
It's an audio loop somewhere. Definitely, it's not a video loop. Let's see. I think
and you'll
it's
remember
probably.
it as soon as you turn the show off.
I think it's got something to do with this upgrade of Wirecast.
We'll have to recheck your routing, your audio routing.
I'll have to. Well, yeah. The thing about the audio, it's just really messed up. I got a bunch of ins hooked to outs, a bunch of outs hooked to ins, and a bunch of combiners and a bunch of splitters,
Yeah.
and then a bunch of compressors and a bunch of equalizers, and then wireless, and then into the mixer, which does a lot of stuff. I don't even know what it does. So all that's going on right now. So. And then all that's hooked between 4 different computers. Oh,
Yeah.
It wasn't doing this. It wasn't doing this before I upgraded. I think it's got something to do with Wirecast.
Well, I'll tell you that at Huntsville this year, this version of Wirecast, from what I saw looking over your shoulder, seemed to be a lot easier to use and a lot more capable than the version you had last year.
It's about the same, actually. Yeah. It's but they've made a lot of changes that you got to know about. If you don't know about them, you don't find them. I mean, right now, this thing for the last year, it's supposed to be showing me how many viewers we have on YouTube. I can't find that number anywhere on here. On the older one, it used to be on the screen, but I don't see it now. I'm gonna have to go look at their new documentation. See where it is. And then under preferences, I've got it checked. Show YouTube user number.
Yeah.
But I don't see it anywhere. All right, guys. Hey, it's getting late. I'm going to go ahead and get off here. Enjoyed everybody being with us tonight.
Yeah, it's peanut butter sandwich time.
Yeah. 73 to everybody. Good night, everybody in the chat room. And we'll see you next week. And maybe we'll have this echo thing run down by next week. I'm sure it will.
Good afternoon, guys. 73 from New Zealand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hey,
take it
thank
easy.
you, Roly. Thanks, man.
73, y'all.
73 from Snotty Daisy. Good night, folks.